How did one small favor from my lover turn into a sheriff-style notice on my door and a legal envelope in my hand? Why did my husband stay calm for weeks, then show up in public with proof and papers that changed everything in 1 minute? Can I still call him the villain when the result lands right in front of the landlord and strangers? My name is Morwenna Pierce, but everyone called me Wren because it sounded lighter. I was 34 and I worked at a leasing office where people complained about paint, pipes and late fees. I understood money better than most wives, at least that was what I told myself. I said I handled the mental load. I said I kept the home running. I said Evan only saw numbers. That morning, the kitchen felt too bright. The sun hit the table, and the crumbs looked loud. Evan stood by the sink with his work mug. I had my mug too, but I did not drink. I watched the clock and my phone at the same time. Evan asked if I scheduled rent. I said I would do it after breakfast. He asked why I had not done it yesterday. I said the banking app was acting strange. He asked if I was sure. I said he needed to stop treating me like I was careless. I did not like his tone, or maybe I did not like what his tone made me feel. Evan was not shouting. He was not slamming doors. He was just looking at me like he was waiting for the truth. That kind of calm made me angry. I told him rent was always on time because of me. I said he should be grateful. He said he was grateful, but he still wanted to see the confirmation. I said he was being controlling. I said he never trusted me. I said he made everything about money. He asked if I could show him the balance. I said it was fine, and I did not need to prove myself in my own house. My phone buzzed on the counter. I saw the email preview from the property manager, and my stomach went cold. It said rent was due tomorrow. It was not rude. It was polite. That made it worse, because polite reminders were the ones that turned into notices. I turned my phone face down fast, like that could erase it. Evan asked what the message was. I said it was work. He asked why work emailed so early. I said leasing never slept. That was true, but it was not the point. Mila wandered in with her hair messy and her shirt inside out. She asked if she could have cereal. I said yes, and I poured it too full, almost to show I could handle simple things. Noah followed her and rubbed his eyes. Evan lifted him, and Noah leaned on his shoulder without thinking. That made my chest feel tight because it looked like safety, and I wanted to be the one who gave that feeling. Evan asked if we were okay. I said we were okay, and he was making it weird. He asked why I looked stressed. I said I had a lot on my plate because he never helped with planning. He nodded, like he accepted my words, but he still looked at my phone. I told myself I deserved relief. I told myself I deserved to feel wanted again. I told myself I deserved a man who did not ask for screenshots like I was a teenager with a fake story. That was when Dylan's name flashed in my mind like a bright sign. I had met Dylan through a work mixer months ago. He did event tech jobs, and he moved like he was always late for something important. He told me he liked how sharp I was. He said I had fire. Evan never used words like that. Evan used words like schedule and budget. Dylan texted me while Evan was putting his lunch in a bag. I did not open it in front of him. I kept my face steady. Evan asked if I was going into the office early. I said yes. He asked why. I said we had a staff thing. He asked if I wanted him to take the kids to school. I said I could do it, like I always did. I said he needed to focus on work and stop hovering. When he left, the house felt softer. I hated that. I told myself I just needed quiet. I told myself Evan's questions were the real problem. I drove to a coffee shop downtown that had small tables and loud music. I liked it because nobody cared what I did. I sat in a corner and finally opened Dylan's message. Dylan said he needed help today. He said it was serious. He said a collector was on him and he could not breathe. He asked if I could cover part of it, just until his next job paid out. He said he hated asking me. He said I was the only person who understood him. I stared at the words like they were a test. I told him I could not, then I erased it. I told him maybe, Then I erased it too. I opened my bank app. The balance showed the rent money sitting there like a promise. I knew exactly what it was for. I also knew what it could become if I moved it. My hands started to sweat. I told myself this was not stealing. I told myself it was a loan. I told myself Evan would never notice if I fixed it before tomorrow. I texted Dylan that I could help once. I said he needed to pay me back fast. He replied right away. He said I was an angel. He said he would never forget it. He said he wished he had met me earlier. I felt warm in a way I had not felt at home in a long time. That warmth was dangerous, but I called it healing. I always had good words for my choices. My phone buzzed again. It was another email preview, and I did not open it. I already knew what it would say. I just kept staring at Dylan's payment link. I told myself Evan spent money on tools and boots without asking me. I told myself Evan took overtime and acted like a hero. I told myself I gave up my youth to be a wife and mom. I told myself I deserved a little freedom. A small voice tried to say, "This is rent, this is the roof over your kids." I pushed the voice down and called it fear. I pressed the transfer button. The app asked if I was sure. I pressed yes again. A confirmation screen popped up. It showed the amount, the date, and Dylan's name. It was too clean, too final. My heart beat hard. I looked around the coffee shop like someone might arrest me for being stupid. I told Dylan it was done. He said he could finally breathe. He said I saved him. He said he wanted to take me out soon. I said we would see. I drove home and practiced my face at red lights. I planned the story in my head. I said the bank was delayed. I said there was a system issue. I said we had time. When I walked into the kitchen, the table still had crumbs. The mugs were in the sink now, side by side, like nothing bad had happened. Then my phone buzzed again, and this time it was the rent reminder push alert, loud and bright, like it was yelling my secret back at me. By noon, I was already tired from pretending. I walked into my leasing office with my smile on. The air smelled like printer toner and cheap coffee. People stood at their desks talking about weekend plans. I sat down and opened my computer like nothing had changed, like rent was still waiting for me at home. Riley Cho, my supervisor, passed behind me. She asked if I was okay because I looked pale. I said I had a migraine and I was fine. She asked if I needed to go home. I said no, I could handle it. I liked saying that. It made me feel like the strong one. I logged into the property portal for our tenants, and I stared at numbers all day. It felt almost funny. I watched late fees pile up on other people's accounts, while my own rent was about to go late. I told myself that was different. I told myself I had reasons. My phone buzzed in my pocket again and again. I did not open it at my desk. I went to the small hallway by the copier and checked it there. Dylan wrote that the payment went through and the collector stopped calling him. He said he could finally sleep. He asked if I was mad at him for needing help. I said I was not mad. I said I liked being the person he could count on. I did not say I was scared. Then an email came from our landlord. It was not a notice yet, but it was close. It said a late fee would apply after tomorrow morning. It asked me to confirm my plan. The words were polite, but I could feel the weight behind them. I typed a reply and erased it. I typed again and erased it again. In the end, I wrote that I would pay tomorrow and thanked her for the reminder. I hit send like that fixed everything. I went back to my desk and opened a spreadsheet. I did not name it. I just started listing what could come in, what could go out. I told myself I would move money from my next paycheck. I told myself I would cut grocery spending. I told myself I could borrow from my mom and pay her back fast. I made it sound like a project. Projects feel clean. My choices were not clean. At 2, Evan texted me. He asked if rent was scheduled now. I said yes, I was working on it. He asked if he could see the confirmation later. I said he needed to stop checking on me like a boss. He replied that he was not trying to be a boss, he just wanted peace. I did not answer that part. After work, I picked up the kids. The school pickup line was slow and hot. Mila climbed into the back seat and asked if we could go to the park. Noah asked for snacks right away. I said yes to both because saying yes made me feel like a good mother. I handed them crackers and drove toward the playground like the day was normal. My phone buzzed while I drove. I did not look. I told myself that was responsible. But my mind still went to Dylan. My mind went to the money. My mind went to Evan's face when he asked for proof. At the playground, Evan showed up 10 minutes later than usual. He had his work clothes on and dust on his boots. He greeted the kids first. He asked Mila about school. She said she drew a picture, and he said he wanted to see it later. Noah ran into his arms and Evan lifted him like he weighed nothing. Evan came to the bench and sat beside me. He asked again if rent was set. I said yes, it was fine. He asked why I sounded angry. I said I was tired and he was pushing me. He said he was not pushing, he was trying to understand. I told him he never understood me, and that was why I needed space sometimes. He asked what space meant. I said it meant he should stop watching me. He asked if I was hiding something. I said he was being dramatic. I said he was turning our marriage into an audit. He went quiet after that. He watched the kids instead of watching me. That silence felt like a threat, even though he did nothing. I told myself his silence was a game. I told myself he wanted me to beg. I promised myself I would not beg. That night, Tess texted me about drinks. She said the rooftop bar had a new DJ and we needed a reset. I told Evan I wanted to go out for 1 hour to clear my head. Evan asked why I needed to go out when money was tight. I said he was proving my point. I said he acted like my father. He asked who I was going with. I said friends from work. That was not fully true, but it sounded safe. He asked when I would be back. I said before midnight. He nodded, and then he asked if we could talk first. I said there was nothing to talk about because he was the one making problems. I got dressed fast. I picked a top that made me feel powerful, not because I planned anything physical, but because I wanted to feel above the mess I made. In the hallway mirror, I practiced a calm face again. When I walked past the kitchen, I noticed something small. Evan had 2 mugs out, but they were on opposite sides of the counter now. It looked like distance, like a line. I told myself it was childish. Still, it made my throat tight. He asked if I was sure I wanted to go. I said yes. He asked if I could show him the rent confirmation before I left. I said it was on my list and he needed to stop embarrassing me. He said he was not trying to embarrass me. He said he would put the kids to bed and we could talk tomorrow. I said fine, and I left before his calm could pull truth out of me. At the rooftop bar, the music was loud and the city lights looked like little promises. Tess hugged me and said I looked amazing. She asked what was going on with Evan. I said he was acting weird about money and treating me like I could not be trusted. She said that sounded toxic. She said men always did that when women started waking up. A few of her friends joined us. One of them asked if I was okay at home. I said I was fine, but my husband was intense. I said he tracked everything I did. I said he questioned my choices like I was a liar. I made my voice soft, like I was brave for enduring it. Tess asked if I wanted to post something. I said yes, because I wanted to control the story before anyone else did. I took a picture of the skyline and wrote a short line about needing peace from financial control. I did not name Evan, but I knew people would connect the dots. That was the point. My phone filled with reactions fast. Hearts. You okay? Messages. One person wrote that I deserved better. I liked that. I let it sit. Then Evan called. I watched it ring. Tess asked if that was him. I said yes, and I rolled my eyes like he was a joke. Tess laughed and said I should not answer. I did not answer. A minute later, Evan texted. He asked if I got there safe. I said yes. He asked again about rent. I said we would talk tomorrow. He wrote that he was not trying to fight, he just needed clarity. I replied that his need for clarity was control. I stayed out longer than I said I would. I told myself I deserved it. I told myself Evan would learn not to question me. I told myself if he felt fear, he would stop. When I got home, the house was dark. Evan was on the couch with his phone face down on his chest. He stood when he saw me. He asked if I had fun. I said yes. He asked why I did not answer. I said my phone died. He looked at my phone in my hand and did not argue. He asked one more time if rent was handled. I said yes, and I told him he needed to drop it. He nodded slowly. Then he asked, very quiet, why Dylan's name showed on my lock screen earlier that day. I felt my stomach flip, and I smiled like he was imagining things. I said he saw it wrong. I said he was tired. I said he needed sleep. I said we would talk when he calmed down. Monday came like a bill you cannot hide from. I woke up before my alarm, and the first thing I did was check my phone. The bank app still showed the same problem, but now it looked worse because time had moved. I told myself I just needed one clean fix. I told myself it was still possible. Evan was already up. He was in the kitchen, not eating, just standing near the counter. He did not ask me anything at first. That scared me more than his questions. I tried to sound normal. I asked if he wanted eggs. He said no. I asked if he slept. He said a little. I asked if he was mad. He said he did not want to fight. Then he asked, in the same calm voice, if I could tell him the exact day I sent the rent payment. I said I did not remember because I was busy. He said it was easy to check. I said he was obsessed. He said he was not obsessed. He was responsible. I hated that word in his mouth. It made my excuses feel small. He asked if Dylan was a co-worker. I said yes, kind of. He asked why a co-worker needed money from his wife. I said he was making a story because he wanted to punish me. He said he did not want to punish me. He wanted truth. I said truth was that he had been cold for months, and I had been carrying the whole family like a backpack. He looked at me for a long second. Then he nodded like he was done talking. When I packed the kids' lunches, my hands shook a little. Mila watched me and asked why Dad was quiet. I said he was tired from work. She asked if he was upset with me. I said no, he just had adult stress. I said she should not worry. At the school drop-off, I tried to act friendly with other parents. I smiled too hard. I laughed at jokes that were not funny. I wanted the world to see me as normal, because if I looked normal, then maybe I was. Evan did not come close to me in the line. He stayed with Noah near the gate. When the teacher waved, he guided Noah forward and then stepped back. He did not touch my arm like he used to. He did not ask what I was doing later. He did not ask who I was texting. The silence was not peace. It was distance. After drop-off, I sat in my car and finally opened the landlord email I had been avoiding. The subject line made my eyes burn. It was a formal notice to pay or quit. It listed the amount and the deadline. It was not emotional. It was just facts. I stared at the date like it could move if I stared long enough. I drove to work and parked in the far spot, like hiding my car could hide my situation. Inside, I walked past the front desk and felt like everyone could smell my fear. Riley asked if I could come into her office for a minute. I said yes, like I had nothing to hide. She asked if everything was okay at home because I looked distracted lately. I said it was fine and I was just tired. She asked if I was having money trouble because she saw me checking my banking app in the hallway last week. I said she must have seen wrong. I said I was checking a tenant account. Her face did not change, but her eyes did. She said she hoped I was okay and told me to take care of myself. I said I would. At my desk, I opened a spreadsheet again. I listed rent, daycare, utilities. I listed my paycheck date. I listed possible loans from my mom and my sister. The numbers did not work. I moved them around anyway, because moving numbers feels like control. Dylan texted at lunchtime. He asked if I was okay, because I sounded tense yesterday. He said he could use a little more help, just to finish the problem fully. He said he would pay me back soon, and he had a new gig lined up. I did not answer right away. I looked at the notice email again. I felt the walls closing in. I told Dylan I could not send more. I said I had family stuff. He replied that I was the only one who cared about him. He said everyone else left him when things got hard. He said he thought I was different. That line made me angry because it sounded like blame. I wrote back that he was being unfair. Then I erased it. I wrote back that I would see what I could do. I hated myself for writing it, but I also felt relief, like I had an exit door. After work, Evan texted and asked what time I would be home. I said soon. He asked if we could talk after the kids went to bed. I said there was nothing to talk about if he was going to accuse me again. He replied that he was not accusing. He was asking. On the drive to school pickup, I rehearsed my story again. I decided I would lean into emotion. If I cried, maybe he would stop. If I acted hurt, maybe he would forget the numbers. At pickup, Mila climbed into the car and told me she had a reading sticker. Noah asked where Dad was. I said Dad was coming later. Mila asked if Dad and I were mad. I said no, adults just get tired. At home, Evan was at the table with his laptop open. He was not watching a show. He was not scrolling. He had a plain screen with columns and rows, like a budget sheet. I could not see the title. He closed it when I walked in, not fast, just calm. I asked what he was doing. He said he was organizing. I asked why. He said he wanted to be clear. I told him he was acting like a stranger in his own house. He said he did not want to be a stranger. He said he also did not want to be lied to. That night we had family dinner at a restaurant with a long table. My parents were there, and Evan's parents were there. It was too many eyes. I felt like I had to perform. My mom asked how things were going. I said Evan had been stressed and controlling. Evan's mother asked what I meant by controlling. I said he questioned my spending and acted like I could not manage the home. Evan's father asked if rent was okay. I smiled and said yes. I said the bank was slow, but it was handled. Evan looked down at his plate and did not correct me. That made me feel powerful for 1 second. Then it made me feel sick. Tess was not there, but my sister Caitlin was. She watched me like she was reading a sign I could not see. After dinner, when we stood near the parking lot, she asked quietly if I was telling the whole truth. I said yes and told her she was being dramatic, like Evan. She did not argue, but she did not look convinced. On the way home, Evan drove in silence. He did not hold my hand. He did not ask me anything. When we got inside, he helped the kids wash up and get into pajamas. He read to them. His voice was steady. It made me feel like he was already building a life without me, 1 page at a time. After the kids were asleep, I tried to start a fight because a fight would feel normal. I told him he embarrassed me at dinner by acting cold. He said he did not embarrass me. He said I embarrassed him online. I asked what he meant. He said he saw my story post. He said people had messaged him asking if he was controlling me. I said that was not my fault because people misunderstood. He asked why I posted it if I did not want people to think that. I said I needed support because he was hard to live with. He nodded again, like he was filing my words away. When I went upstairs, I heard a soft beep from his phone, like a recording app starting or stopping. I paused, but he did not look up. In the bedroom, I noticed his bedside drawer was shut tight, and when he opened it to put something inside, I heard a small lock click. I told myself he was being paranoid. I also told myself that if he was collecting things, then he was preparing for something I could not control. That thought kept me awake long after the house went quiet. I told myself I could still fix it if I stayed ahead of the story. That became my main skill. Not fixing problems, but fixing how people saw them. Tuesday morning, Evan did not ask about rent at all. He made coffee, packed the kids' bags, and wrote something on a small sticky note. When he noticed me watching, he folded the note and put it in his pocket. I saw only 2 words before it disappeared. Bring forms. I tried to laugh like it was nothing. I asked if he was doing some work thing. He said yes, kind of. I asked where he was going later. He said he had errands. I hated that he did not explain. Evan used to explain everything. Now he spoke like a closed door. At work, I could not focus. I kept opening the bank app. The overdraft fees were like tiny punches. I called my mum during my break and asked if she could lend me money for a timing issue. She asked what I meant. I said rent was delayed because of a bank problem, and Evan was acting harsh about it. My mom said men always used money to scare women. She said I should not let him. She asked if I needed her to talk to him. I said yes, maybe, because I wanted backup. Then I called my sister. Caitlin answered in a quiet voice. She asked what was going on because I sounded tense. I said Evan was threatening to leave if I did not prove things to him. I said he was treating me like a criminal. Caitlin asked if I paid rent. I paused too long. Then I said yes, it was processing. She asked if I was sure. I snapped and said she sounded just like him. I said she should be on my side for once. She went silent. Then she said she loved me, but she did not like the feeling of my story. She said it felt like I was skipping parts. I said she was being judgmental. I ended the call first, like that made me right. That afternoon, Dylan texted again. He said his debt was not fully closed. He said the collector could come to his door. He said it was danger level. He asked if I could send even a little more, just to stop the last part. I felt anger rise, but not at him. At Evan, at the landlord, at the calendar, at anyone who stood between me and relief. I wrote back that I was dealing with pressure at home. Dylan replied that he wished he could take me away from all that. He said he could make me feel safe. I stared at the word safe and almost laughed. I was not safe because of him. I was not safe because of me. That night, Evan came home and went straight to the kids. He asked Mila about her day. He asked Noah what he ate at snack time. He did not ask me anything. I walked behind him in the hallway and felt invisible in my own house. After dinner, Evan took out the trash and then checked the mail. I watched him from the window. He held one envelope longer than the rest. Then he placed it inside his bag and zipped it. He did not wave. He did not look up. I asked what it was when he came in. He said it was nothing important. I said it did not look like nothing. He said he did not want to fight. I pushed anyway. I asked if he was hiding money. He looked at me then, finally. He asked if I wanted honesty. I said yes, like I was brave. He said he was separating things, so there would be no confusion later. He said it was calm and it was proper. He did not raise his voice. I told him he was threatening me. He said he was not threatening me. He said he was making sure the kids had stability. I said the kids already had stability. He asked if rent being unpaid felt like stability. My face got hot. I said the rent was going to be paid. He asked when. I said soon. He asked how. I said I would figure it out. He asked if I had already figured it out by sending it somewhere else. I told him he was paranoid again. I told him he was obsessed with Dylan's name because he needed a villain. I said Dylan was nothing. I said Evan should look at his own behavior instead of blaming me for stress. He did not argue. He simply nodded and walked upstairs to put the kids to bed. I followed him up after a minute. In the bedroom, his side of the closet looked different. Not empty, but organized. Shirts in neat groups. A small travel bag on the top shelf, ready. I asked why his bag was out. He said he liked being prepared. That word made my stomach drop. Later, while he showered, I glanced at the nightstand. His phone was face down. I did not touch it, but I noticed a new key on his keyring. Bright silver, not like the others. I asked him about it when he came out. He said it was for a storage unit. I blinked. I asked why he needed storage. He said he was making space. I asked space for what? He said for clarity. I tried to force a laugh. I said he was being dramatic. He said he was being careful. The next day, I drove to the gym, but I did not go inside. I parked at the far end and sat there, staring at my phone. Dylan was nearby, I knew it. That was the plan. I told Evan I was doing self-care, because that sounded clean. Dylan got into my passenger seat like he belonged there. He smelled like cologne and anxiety. He asked if I brought anything. I said not yet. He asked why. I said my husband was watching me. Dylan said Evan sounded controlling. He said Evan did not deserve me. He said I should stop letting Evan scare me. I said Evan was not scaring me, he was annoying me. Dylan asked if I could take a cash advance. I said that was risky. He said life was risky. He said he thought I was brave. I wanted to be brave. I wanted to be the person who saved someone. I did not want to be the person who failed her own kids. I lived in that split like it was normal. I told Dylan I would try. He leaned closer and said he knew I would. Then he got out of the car and walked away like he already owned my decision. At home that night, the landlord called. I listened to the voicemail alone in the kitchen. It said the payment discussion was scheduled. It said if I did not pay by the deadline, the next step would start. The voice was calm and professional, like Evan had been. Evan came in and saw my face. He asked what happened. I said nothing. He asked if the landlord called. I said no. He did not say, I know you are lying. He just walked to the counter and picked up a folder I had never seen before. It was labeled in plain handwriting, bank. He did not open it in front of me. He simply set it down, looked me in the eye, and asked one last time if I wanted to tell the truth while it was still small. I said he was trying to scare me. I said he was acting like a stranger. I said he was breaking our family with his suspicion. He listened. Then he said, very quietly, that he would not argue with feelings anymore. He said he would work with facts. And for the first time, I believed him. The week felt like it was shrinking around me. Every day had less space to hide. I woke up on Thursday with my chest tight, like I had been running in my sleep. Evan was already dressed for work. His boots were by the door, lined up like a decision. He asked if I had called the landlord back. I said I was going to. He asked if the rent was paid. I said it was still processing. He asked how long it could process. I said he was acting like I was stupid. He said he was not calling me stupid. He said he just needed a date. I told him I did not owe him dates and receipts in my own marriage. He said marriage did not erase math. That sentence made me want to throw something, but I kept my hands on the counter. Mila came in and asked if Dad could do pickup today. Evan said yes. Mila looked relieved, like pickup was a safe rope she could hold. That hurt my pride. I told her I could do pickup too, but she said she liked when Dad did it because he was always on time. She did not mean it as an insult. It still felt like one. After Evan left, I called Dylan. I told him I could not send more. He said he understood, but he also said he was scared. He said if he did not fix the last part, he could lose his car. He said without his car, he could not work. He said then he would really be ruined. I listened and felt my anger turn into something else. I told myself I was not paying his debts. I told myself I was saving a person. I told myself Evan would never understand that kind of loyalty. I went to the bank branch on my lunch break. The place was quiet and bright. I asked about a small personal loan, like it was normal. The banker asked about my income and my current balance. I lied with my face, but the screen did not lie with numbers. She said the terms would be bad because my account was overdrawn. She asked if I wanted to apply anyway. I said no and smiled like I had changed my mind for fun. On the way out, my phone buzzed. It was a message from the landlord confirming the payment discussion time. It also mentioned final window. My eyes blurred for a second. I called my mom again. I told her Evan was making me feel unsafe because he kept demanding proof. My mom asked if rent was paid. I said it was delayed and Evan was using it to control me. She said men love to punish women with money. She told me to stand strong and not beg. I wanted to believe her, but my stomach knew the difference between punishment and consequence. That evening, Evan came home and did not take off his boots right away. He walked into the living room, picked up Noah's toy truck, and placed it back in the bin like he was resetting a room. Then he went to the kitchen and opened a drawer that I rarely used. I heard a light click again, like a lock. I asked what he was doing. He said he was organizing. I asked why he was always organizing now. He said he liked clarity. I told him he was acting like a man planning to leave. He looked at me for a long moment. He said he was planning to keep the kids steady no matter what happened. I asked what that meant. He said it meant routines would not depend on excuses. I tried to flip it. I said he was abandoning us emotionally already. He said he was present with the kids every day. He asked if I could say the same without lying. I felt heat rise in my throat. I said he was cruel. I said he wanted to make me look bad. He said he did not need to make me look anything. He said my posts were doing that for me. I told him my posts were a cry for help. He asked why I never cried to him. I said because he did not listen. He said he listened fine, but I did not speak straight. The next morning, I took the kids to daycare and school because I needed to feel useful. When I got back, I found a plain envelope on the counter with my name written in Evan's handwriting. I did not open it, but I touched it. It felt like paper and pressure. When Evan came home that night, I confronted him. I asked what the envelope was. He said it was information I might need soon. I asked what kind of information. He said household information. That was all. I started to cry on purpose. I made my breathing shaky. I told him I was overwhelmed and he was making it worse. I said he was supposed to protect me from stress. He asked what I needed protection from. I said, from judgment, from bills, from people thinking I failed. He said quietly that protection was not the same as pretending. He said he would not pretend anymore. Friday afternoon, I stopped at the supermarket. I pushed the cart too fast, like speed could fix my life. At checkout, my card declined. The sound was small, but it felt loud. The cashier asked if I had another payment method. I laughed like it was nothing and tried again. It declined again. People behind me shifted and sighed. My face burned. I used a credit card I kept for emergencies. I told myself this was an emergency. The bag boy asked if I wanted paper or plastic. I said it did not matter, because in my mind nothing mattered but time. When I got home, the voicemail light blinked on my phone. The landlord had left another message. It said the deadline was close and the next step would start if payment was not made. The voice was calm, like a door shutting without a slam. Evan was in the living room with the kids, building a block tower. Noah laughed when it fell. Mila clapped. Evan smiled, real and soft. I watched them and felt something break inside me, because he looked like he was already practicing being okay without me. After the kids went to bed, I tried again to make Evan the problem. I told him he cared more about rent than about me. He said caring about rent was caring about the kids' home. I told him I could fix it if he would just help me. He asked how he could help without being lied to. I said he should trust me. He asked what trust was built on. I had no answer that sounded good. Saturday morning, Evan packed a small bag. Not a dramatic suitcase. Just a neat bag, like a person going on a work trip. I asked where he was going. He said he was staying somewhere else for a while. I went cold. I asked if he was leaving the kids. He said no. He said he had a plan for school pickup and daycare drop-off. He said he would be present, just not living under the same roof while the truth stayed missing. I told him he was punishing me. He said he was choosing peace. I followed him to the stairwell landing when he carried the bag down. The air smelled like dust and laundry soap. I told him he could not do this to me. He said he was not doing it to me. He said he was doing it for the kids and for himself. I demanded he talk to my mum, because I wanted a judge on my side. He said he did not need a crowd. I told him everyone would think he was a monster for leaving when rent was due. He said everyone could think what they wanted. He said facts did not change with gossip. He set his bag down, looked at me, and spoke like he had already decided. He said he would handle it properly. Then he took his keys, walked out, and closed the door without force. A few minutes later, I opened the front door and saw a paper slipped under the mat. It was the landlord's final notice, and my hands shook so hard I almost dropped it. I did not sleep much after Evan left. The house felt louder without him, even when it was quiet. In the morning, I watched the kids eat cereal, and I kept smiling like a mask. Mila asked where Dad was. I said he was working. Noah asked if Dad would read tonight. I said maybe. My voice sounded too bright, like a cartoon. I called Evan again and again. He did not answer. I texted him that he was being cruel. I said he could not just walk out when rent was due. He replied once, hours later. He said he would communicate about the kids, and he asked me to use one thread only. He wrote like a robot. That made me angry because it made me feel small. The landlord's final notice sat on the counter like a threat. I read it 3 times. It listed a date for a lockout if payment was not made. It also listed the amount with fees. It was my job to understand these papers, and that made it worse. I knew exactly what each line meant. I called my mum. I told her Evan abandoned us. I said he was doing it to punish me. She said he was trying to scare me into obeying him. She said I should not let him win. I wanted to win. I wanted the world to see me as the wronged wife, the tired mom, the woman with too much on her shoulders. I did not want the world to see the simple truth. I moved the rent money on purpose. I went to the property management office anyway. Like showing up could change numbers. The lobby smelled like lemon cleaner. A framed poster on the wall said, "Pay on time, live in peace." And it felt like it was laughing at me. The property manager, Ms. Alden, asked if I had the full amount. I said I was working on it. She asked if a partial payment was coming today. I said maybe. She asked for a confirmation number. I said the bank was slow. She looked at her screen and said she only worked with posted payments. I told her my husband moved out and left me. I said he always paid and now he refused. I said it was not fair. Ms. Alden said she was sorry, but she followed policy. She said the lease named both of us, and she needed the rent either way. I tried to shift it. I said Evan was emotionally controlling. I said I was afraid. Ms. Alden asked if I wanted a private room or a support person. I said no, because I did not want help. I wanted sympathy. When I left her office, my phone buzzed with a calendar reminder I did not remember setting. It said, downtown 10 a.m. I froze because I knew it was not mine. I drove downtown without thinking. My mind told me Evan was doing something secret and I needed to stop it. That thought felt like love in my head, but it was really control. I parked near a big building with glass doors and security guards. People in suits walked in with coffee cups like they had normal lives. Inside, the lobby echoed. I saw Evan near a bench, calm, holding a small folder. His face looked tired but steady. He did not look like a man who had lost control. He looked like a man who had found it. I walked fast toward him. I asked what he was doing here. He said he was handling things properly. I said he was trying to destroy me. He said he was trying to protect the kids and himself. I said the kids needed both parents in one home. He said the kids needed safety and truth. I raised my voice and said he was making me look bad. A few people turned their heads. I liked that for 1 second, because attention felt like power. Then it felt like shame. Evan asked me to lower my voice. He said he did not want a scene. I said he already made a scene by leaving. He said he left the house, not the kids. He said he had pick-up and drop-off plans, and he said he had already shared them in writing. I told him I could not pay rent alone. He said he had paid his share up to the separation date. He said he would not keep paying into a situation that was not honest. He said he would follow the lawful process from now on. I told him I would tell everyone he abandoned us. He said I already did, and he said that was part of the problem. A man in a plain jacket walked toward us. He asked my name. I said yes, sharp, like I was not scared. He said he needed to confirm my identity. I asked why. He said he was there to serve documents. My skin went cold. I looked at Evan and asked if he did this. Evan said he did not want to do anything in secret. He said this was the proper way. The man handed me a thick envelope. He said it contained a divorce filing and temporary orders. He said I was served in a public place because that was allowed. He said if I had questions, I could read the instructions inside. I opened it with shaking hands. The first page had clear lines and a clear message. It said Evan was requesting temporary arrangements for the kids, and it listed schedules and exchanges. It also listed temporary financial boundaries. It said Evan's future housing costs would be separate from mine. It said I was responsible for my own rent going forward. I tried to laugh. I said he could not do that. Evan said he could, and he said it was filed properly. He said he would keep supporting the kids, but he would not keep covering my choices. My phone buzzed. It was a new email from Ms. Alden. It said she received notice of a change in payment responsibility and communication. It said the lockout date remained unless I paid in full by the deadline. It said she would only speak with me about my balance now, and she would only speak with Evan about his separate account status. I stared at the screen. My hands felt numb. Evan stood up and adjusted his jacket like this was just another task. He said he would see the kids at his scheduled time. He said he hoped I would keep it calm for them. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab his sleeve and force him to feel what I felt. But he did not move toward me, and he did not touch me. He just walked away, lawful and quiet, while the words "lockout date" burned on my phone like a stamp.